Have you ever heard of a country where it's the women who pop the question? Where you can find an actual village of little people, or a town with just one resident. Yet it has its own passport stamp? Imagine a street so steep that residents park at an angle just to stop their cars from sliding into traffic. How do they make it work? What's even crazier, the average cost of living is just 60% of what Americans pay. Welcome to New Zealand, a land where what sounds like a joke is completely real. Join us as we uncover 15 of the most mind-bending and surreal truths about this one-of-a-kind country in today's Travel Deep Dive. Fact 15, New Zealand, the nation at the edge of the map. Set in the remote South Pacific, New Zealand lies more than 1,200 miles from Australia, making it one of the most geographically isolated countries on Earth. Often referred to as the last stop before Antarctica, it's a place where the extraordinary is just everyday life. This island nation is made up of two main landmasses, the North Island and the South Island, plus over 700 smaller isles. Altogether, the territory spans about 104,000 square miles, slightly larger than Colorado, yet incredibly sparsely populated. As of 2025, the country is home to around 5.2 million people. That's only a third of New York City's population. But get this, New Zealand has over 29 million sheep, meaning there are nearly 6 sheep for every person. Its population is made up primarily of European descendants, indigenous Māori, Pacific Islanders, and a fast-growing Asian community. English and Māori are both official languages, with Māori making a strong comeback in schools, media, and cultural events after nearly disappearing. From snowy peaks and mirror-like lakes to lush rainforests and untouched shores, New Zealand is a landscape photographer's dream. The climate is generally mild, with 4 well-defined seasons, and winter falls between June and August, the reverse of most of the world. Perhaps what's most remarkable, you can ski in the morning and surf in the afternoon, all without leaving the same island. It's a country where the phrase, the best of both worlds, truly applies. Fact 14, a real Hobbit village you can visit. Have you ever wished you could walk straight into Frodo Baggins' world? In New Zealand, you absolutely can. And it's so authentic, you might forget you're in the modern age. Hobbiton, the beloved village from The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies, is not a film set that was torn down after filming, it's a permanent attraction. Located in Matamata, a pastoral region on the North Island, this whimsical settlement was built on a 1,200-acre sheep farm and originally crafted for Peter Jackson's cinematic vision. Due to overwhelming fan interest, the set was rebuilt and preserved as a fully immersive experience. Wander through 44 detailed hobbit holes, stroll by vibrant flower beds and vegetable patches, and peek inside rounded green doors. You'll see stone wells, wooden fences, tiny clothes hanging on lines, and even chimneys puffing smoke in the early morning mist. There are no plastic props, only real timber, stone, and living plants. The locals of Matamata are famously warm and welcoming. They'll greet you with a smile, call you mate within seconds, and offer directions, or a cold drink without hesitation. Many of them work on their farms during the day and double as Hobbiton guides in the evenings, passionately sharing tales of Middle-earth as though they actually lived there. Fans of fantasy or film can raise a pint at the Green Dragon Inn, sit beneath the party tree where Bilbo gave his farewell speech, or stand at the very path where Gandalf rode into town. Every nook and cranny is designed to feel alive, not like a museum, but like a storybook world frozen in time. The Maori even refer to this place as the land of tiny dreams, because it stirs childhood imagination and emotional nostalgia in everyone who visits. Believe it or not, many people hold birthday parties here, complete with feasts and costumes, just like real hobbits. Are you ready to grab a mug of Hobbit ale at Bilbo's home? If yes, drop a comment with the number 5. If you think fairy tales are only for kids, type 6. Fact 13. Women who redefine strength and beauty. If you believe beauty is tied to makeup, high heels, or carefully styled outfits, then New Zealand women will completely change your perspective. Here, natural beauty meets rugged independence. And it's breathtaking. From Wellington to Queenstown, you'll see women confidently hiking in hoodies, driving off-road vehicles, and surfing solo at sunrise. Many of them prefer sneakers over stilettos and embrace their sun-kissed skin, wild curls, and weathered glow. It's not about looking polished, it's about living free. These women grow up surrounded by oceans, forests, and mountains, and it shows in how they carry themselves. Grounded, bold, and untamed. They're comfortable without filters or touch-ups, and their confidence doesn't come from cosmetics, it comes from experience. New Zealand was the first country to grant women the right to vote in 1893, and its society has continued to champion gender equality ever since. Women here run farms, lead companies from minimalist cabins, and chase adventure just as hard as any man. In Wellington, it's not unusual for women to take the lead in relationships. They often initiate conversations, plan first dates, and warmly welcome travelers. You'll find them chatting in cafes, offering trail tips at a local market, or cracking jokes over coffee like old friends. And yes, they're often open to cross-cultural connections. If you're genuine, kind, and ready to embrace a laid-back, meaningful life, there's a good chance you'll find someone remarkable. Curious about how to connect with Kiwi women the respectful way? Drop 8 in the comments, and I'll share some local-friendly advice. Fact 12. Waitomo, a galaxy beneath the Earth. In most places, you gaze upward to see the stars. But in New Zealand, you can look down into the darkness of the Earth and witness a sky full of light. Hidden beneath rolling green hills lies the Waitomo glowworm caves, one of the world's most surreal natural wonders. Here, millions of glowworms, a species found only in New Zealand, hang from cave ceilings and glow like tiny floating stars. These creatures, known as Arachnocampa luminosa, aren't just beautiful. They're bioluminescent hunters. They produce silk-like threads and use their glowing abdomens to lure prey, creating a living constellation deep inside ancient limestone caverns that are over 30 million years old. The cave experience is both eerie and enchanting. You float silently in a boat through pitch-black passages, no lights, no talking, only the sound of trickling water and the surreal glow overhead. It feels less like a tour and more like drifting through another galaxy. Filmmakers and photographers often say, no CGI can match the magic of Waitomo. And they're right. It's a place that truly feels like it belongs to another world. The Maori people have known about these caves for centuries and regard them with spiritual reverence. Since opening to the public in 1889, Waitomo has become one of New Zealand's most beloved attractions, drawing over 1 million visitors each year. If you're ever in the North Island, don't skip this cosmic cave. It's the closest you'll get to flying through space without leaving Earth. Fact 11. Natural spas like nowhere else on Earth. Have you ever soaked in a mountainside hot tub surrounded by forest, ice, and steam rising from the earth? In New Zealand, spas aren't about luxury. They're about reconnecting with nature and tradition. Head to Rotorua, often called the geothermal capital of the country, and you'll find bubbling mud pools, steaming vents, and mineral springs with centuries of cultural meaning. Locals don't just visit for relaxation. They see it as a form of spiritual renewal. One of the iconic spots is Hell's Gate, where visitors immerse themselves in Maori mineral mud, believed to rejuvenate the skin and ease stress. Afterward, you can rinse off in a cedar soaking pool with views of a live volcano in the distance. It's a setting that feels ancient and otherworldly. In Queenstown, the onsen hot pools offer private wooden tubs perched above rivers and snowy peaks. You can bathe under the stars while looking out at the Remarkables, a mountain range so stunning it appeared in The Lord of the Rings. Some spas even serve meals prepared with geothermal heat called hangi, meat and vegetables slow-cooked in the earth, just like the Maori have done for generations. It's a bath, a feast, and a cultural journey all rolled into one. With prices between $30 and $60, this experience is accessible and unforgettable. So, would you prefer a fancy resort or a wooden tub under the stars, surrounded by the raw power of the earth? Comment below. Are you a 5-star spa type or a nature immersion adventurer? Fact 10. The world's steepest street, a real-life tilted town. Imagine dropping a tennis ball on a street and watching it roll, and roll, and roll. That's exactly what happens on Baldwin Street, found in the city of Dunedin, on New Zealand's South Island. Recognised by the Guinness World Records, this short stretch of road boasts an incline so sharp, a whopping 38% gradient, that walking it feels more like climbing a staircase than strolling down the sidewalk. For every 9 feet forward, you're going up nearly 3 feet. It's no wonder it once lost and then reclaimed its world title after a measurement mistake was corrected in 2020. Locals were so proud, they started printing Baldwin Street mugs, T-shirts, even dog bandanas, all showing off their tilted claim to fame. Because of the extreme slope, residents park their cars diagonally to keep them from sliding down. The brakes have to be top-notch, and people who live there treat the climb like their morning workout. Even homes are specially built to appear level inside. Although, from the outside, everything looks comically slanted. Every year, the street hosts quirky events like a dash to the top race, where thousands gather to test their leg strength on the pavement incline. During the winter months, when snow falls, the entire slope turns into a natural ski ramp. And at one point, the town even tried to make the steepest layered cake in history, though gravity had other plans for the frosting. It's not just a road, it's a legend. And in New Zealand, even something as simple as a street can turn into a record-breaking adventure. Fact 9. Whangamomona, the town that became its own republic. Tucked away in the hills of New Zealand's North Island is a tiny community that decided one day it would no longer be part of New Zealand. Welcome to Whangamomona, a remote village with only about 40 full-time residents, and yet it proudly calls itself a republic. That's right. In 1989, When the town was reassigned to a new district, the locals were so unhappy that they declared independence. Today, the Republic of Whangamomona issues its own passports, elects a president, and even celebrates its own national holiday. What's the presidential palace, you ask? A charming old Victorian pub, over a century old, where travellers can get a cold drink, and for just a few dollars, an official Whangamomona passport. The surrounding area feels like a step back in time. Dirt roads, handcrafted timber homes, goats in front yards, and a tiny gas station with just one pump and no employees. You fill up, pay on trust, and continue on your way. There are no traffic lights, security cameras, or chain stores. Just mutual respect and open doors. Here, nicknames replace surnames. You'll meet locals like Flag Girl Nina or Goat Whisperer Dave, and every 2 years, the town holds a public election, where the candidates aren't always human. In the past, dogs, goats, and even a cat have run for office. Whangamomona may be small, but it's filled with heartish humour and a rebellious Kiwi spirit that turns a forgotten dot on the map into a one-of-a-kind experience. Fact 8, the Kiwi, a tiny, shy bird with giant symbolism. And when you think of a national animal, you might imagine something fierce, a lion, an eagle, maybe a bear. But in New Zealand, the national icon is small, round, feathered, and completely flightless. Meet the Kiwi, a bird so unique that New Zealanders proudly call themselves Kiwis in its honour. This nocturnal creature is about the size of a chicken, has no wings to speak of, and prefers to hide in dense forest undergrowth. Yet, it's loved across the entire country, with its long, curved beak, which it uses to sniff out bugs and worms underground. The Kiwi is the only bird in the world with nostrils at the tip of its beak. That means it literally smells its way through the forest floor like a tiny feathered detective. And get this, Kiwi eggs are enormous. One egg can weigh up to a quarter of the mother's body, making it one of the largest egg-to-body ratios in the animal kingdom. It's like a human giving birth to a toddler. Road signs in rural areas even warn drivers about Kiwi crossings, and conservation centres across the country go to great lengths to protect them. These birds are extremely shy, mate for life, and represent everything New Zealanders value: resilience, loyalty, and uniqueness. Want to see one in real life? You'll need patience and head to sanctuaries like Zealandia or Rotorua's Kiwi Encounter and be very quiet. Kiwis dislike noise and light, but if you do catch a glimpse, it'll be a moment you won't forget. Think this little bird deserves its national treasure status? Drop a 9 in the comments if you agree. Fact number 7, Wellington, where wind meets wonder. If you ever step off a plane in Wellington, you might not be greeted by noise or crowds, but by a sudden, powerful gust of wind that almost steals your hat. Welcome to the windiest capital city on earth, where breezes are strong enough to make trees bend and flags flap year-round. Locals call it Windy Welly, but don't mistake that nickname for a complaint. The people here have learned to embrace the breeze as part of daily life. Cafes still put tables outside, musicians still play in the park. It's a place where life continues, even in a full-blown gale. Wellington has its quirks. Many houses have small shoe awnings by the front door, a hint at the local custom of always removing your shoes indoors. It's part cleanliness, part spiritual habit, and always respected. Walk down Cuba Street and you'll find a city bursting with creativity. Artists sketch on sidewalks, musicians strum ukuleles, and vintage shops spill out onto the street. There's even a human-powered fountain that only activates when someone hops on a bike to pump it, and the friendliness off the charts. Bus drivers sometimes wave people on without asking for a fare, especially if they're singing or just spreading good vibes. It's a place where community energy replaces city stress. At night, Wellington transforms. Cozy pubs, live jazz, Maori folk music, and ocean breezes all combine into a mood that's part bohemian, part small-town magic. Storytelling is big here. Don't be surprised if someone shares a Maori legend over your glass of local wine. No skyscrapers block the view, and no highways drown out the sound of waves crashing along the harbour. Wellington proves you don't need size or flash to be unforgettable, just a lot of soul and a little wind. Fact 6. New Zealand, nature's most overlooked masterpiece. If you think travelling is just about sightseeing and snapping photos, New Zealand will change your entire perspective. Here, nature doesn't just surround you, it challenges, heals, and humbles you. Let's start with something you've probably never heard of. Heli fishing. Yes, that's fishing by helicopter. In the rugged southern Alps, a chopper will fly you into remote alpine rivers where no one else has ever cast a line. You land, fish in pure glacial waters, then fly out, all in one jaw-dropping afternoon. Then there's Milford Sound, often dubbed the eighth wonder of the world. Towering cliffs, inky waters, and waterfalls that tumble straight from misty mountaintops created a scene so surreal, it feels painted. You can kayak beneath rainbows or cruise among dolphins, all while clouds drift low over the fjord like nature's special effects. Head farther south, and you'll discover Lake Tekapo, famous for its milky turquoise water and some of the clearest stargazing skies on the planet. At night, the Milky Way lights up the sky so brightly you could read a book under the stars. Explore Waitomo geothermal wonderland, where the champagne pool bubbles in neon orange and green, looking more alien than earthly. And just nearby is Franz Josef Glacier, one of the only places in the world where you can hike ancient ice by day and relax in hot springs by night. Over in Abel Tasman National Park, you can paddle through sea caves, camp beside golden beaches, and watch dolphins surf along your kayak. It's not a national park, it's a living postcard. In short, New Zealand is not just a country. It's an open-air museum of Earth's most dramatic features, all packed into 2 islands. Every direction leads to something majestic. Fact 5. The Māori, a culture that greets with the breath of life. In many cultures, a handshake is a greeting. In others, a bow. But in New Zealand, the indigenous Māori people have something far more meaningful, a tradition called the hongi. In a hongi, 2 people gently press their foreheads and noses together, sharing what the Māori call the ha, the breath of life. It's not just a hello, it's a deep act of unity, symbolizing that both people are now connected, sharing the same life force. This isn't just for special ceremonies. In traditional Maori gatherings, weddings, or welcoming rituals, the hongi is how respect and acceptance are shown. Many visitors describe it as unexpectedly emotional, a gesture that feels ancient and profound, not staged or touristy. And here's something else remarkable. In Maori tradition, women can propose marriage. During special courtship events, a woman might offer a handcrafted item, like a carved pendant or bracelet, as a symbol of intent. If the gesture is accepted, the relationship is considered serious. For the Maori, love isn't about flash or roles. It's about freedom, choice, and shared responsibility, values that guide both relationships and everyday life. In regions like Rotorua and Taupo, many Maori families live close to the land, in multi-generational homes surrounded by nature. Meals are often prepared in a hangai, an underground oven, where food is slow-cooked using geothermal steam. They bathe in mineral springs, pass stories down through song and dance, and believe the wind, birds, and forests all carry ancestral spirits. Before any major event, you'll often see the powerful haka, a Maori performance filled with chanting, stomping, and fierce emotion. To outsiders, it may look like a war dance, but it's also used to celebrate life, mourn loss, and honor connection. This isn't just a tradition. It's a living, breathing culture that continues to shape New Zealand's heart and soul. Fact 4. Only in New Zealand, take a sheep for a walk. You've probably walked a dog, maybe even a cat, on a leash if you were brave. But have you ever taken a fluffy 110-pound sheep for a peaceful stroll through green hills? In New Zealand, that's not a joke. It's a real tourist attraction. Across areas like Waikato, Otago, and Queenstown, farms now offer travellers the chance to adopt a sheep for an afternoon. You can give them a name, feed them, brush their wool, and walk side by side across meadows that look like they were lifted straight from a Tolkien movie set. Here's why it makes perfect sense. New Zealand is home to over 25 million sheep, while the human population is only around 5.2 million. That's about 5 sheep for every person, and it's become a fun part of the national identity. Some sheep are so well trained, they'll follow commands, pose for selfies, and even sit beside you during picnic breaks. Farmers teach tourists special whistles and calls that signal the sheep, turning it into a cross between a pet walk and a nature tour. It's not just adorable, it's oddly heartwarming. One farm even holds an annual sheep whistling championship, and there was once a national effort to elect a sheep conductor, a sort of ambassador for the woolly population. If you're after a travel experience that's cute, hilarious, and uniquely Kiwi, look no further. You'll leave with the muddy boots, a wool-covered hoodie, and a phone full of sheep selfies. Would you take a sheep for a walk, or let one walk you? Fact 3. Festivals like you've never seen before. If you think festivals are just about food trucks and fireworks, then New Zealand's celebrations will flip your expectations upside down. Here, every festival is a creative explosion of culture, colour, and pure originality. In the capital city of Wellington, the world-famous WOW, World of Wearable Art show, turns fashion into performance art. Models don outfits made from metal, recycled plastic, driftwood, even feathers, all choreographed with lights, music, and theatrical storytelling. It's not just a runway show. It's a futuristic, living sculpture gallery. Head to Auckland in March, and you'll walk into the Pacifica Festival, the largest celebration of Pacific Island cultures on Earth. The park transforms into a vibrant island village, with live traditional dancing, Polynesian street food, handmade crafts, and drumming that vibrates through your bones. You'll feel like you've travelled to Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, and the Cook Islands, all in one afternoon. And then there's the magical lantern festivals held in Auckland and Christchurch during Lunar New Year. Fact 2. Living well for less. The cost of life in New Zealand. If you've ever dreamed of escaping the hustle of big cities like New York or London, New Zealand might be the upgrade you've been looking for without the huge price tag. Living here offers a surprising balance of comfort, nature, and affordability. In fact, the average cost of living is about 35 to 45% lower than in most major US cities. Let's break it down. A one-bedroom apartment in places like Wellington or Christchurch will cost you around $950 to $1,200 per month. In smaller, scenic towns, rent often dips below $800. For utilities, electricity, water, and high-speed internet, expect to pay around $110 to $140 monthly. When it comes to food, locals enjoy fresh produce, lamb, fish, and seasonal fruits, all for about $60 to $80 as a week. Dining out doesn't break the bank either. A tasty meal at a casual restaurant might cost $12 to $18, and a smooth cappuccino runs you about $3.50. Transportation? Simple and reliable. Buses and trains are clean and on time, with rides averaging just $2 and $3, and monthly passes around $60 to $90. Even fitness is affordable. A gym membership typically ranges from $30 to $50 per month. Routine dental checkups? Just $40 to $60. So how much do you need to live comfortably in New Zealand? Around $1,300 to $1,600 per month, depending on your lifestyle and location. All that, with access to beaches, mountains, and world-class scenery right outside your door. Would you consider relocating here? If yes, type 1 in the comments. If no, type 0. And tell us why. Fact 1. A food lover's hidden paradise. When most people think of New Zealand cuisine, they picture lamb and pies. But that's just scratching the surface. This country is a culinary treasure chest, blending ancient traditions, wild ingredients, and bold modern flavors. Let's start with hangi, the centerpiece of traditional Māori cooking. It's a method where meat and vegetables are wrapped in cloth, placed over hot stones, and buried underground to slow cook for hours. The result? A smoky, earthy flavor that no oven or grill could ever replicate. It's a feast with soul, often shared during big celebrations and family gatherings. If you're into seafood, prepare your taste buds. Paua, a rare black abalone, is both a delicacy and a work of art. Its shimmering shell is used in Māori jewelry, while the meat is pan-fried or added to fritters. Then there's the green-lipped mussel, massive and meaty, often steamed in wine or baked with garlic and cheese. Craving something more adventurous? Try kina, a spiny sea urchin known as Māori caviar. Locals often eat it raw, straight from the shell, while chefs incorporate it into high-end sushi or fusion dishes. And don't forget the classics. Roast lamb, slow-cooked and seasoned to perfection, is a Sunday tradition. Pair it with baked kumara, sweet potato, and gravy, and you've got comfort food at its finest. For dessert, the national favorite is pavlova, a light meringue with a crisp crust and fluffy center, topped with whipped cream and fresh fruit. And to wash it all down, grab an L&P, short for lemon and paroa, a fizzy, lemony soda so beloved that there's an actual giant bottle statue of it in the town of Paroa. New Zealand isn't just about stunning views, it's about flavor, culture, and sharing meals that tell stories.